Welcome everyone to another community call where today we're going to talk about SciCon. So Ricardo, take it away.
Okay, so hi everyone. This is the first day after our first successful event. So first of all, thank you again to everyone who contributed and was in the audience. It was really nice to see all of you, and it was just incredible how we put this together in the past couple of months. It's been really a pleasure for me, and I hope really for you as well to have all of the amazing speakers that we had on ResearchHub. So I really hope we can continue on on this path, kind of like leading to another maybe event in I don't know, next 2 or 3 months. But for now, I think it's we had our time to celebrate. It's now time to get some feedback. So yeah, I would start with what went well. What do you think? What did not go well? Let's start from the positive side. What do you think, guys, went well with this event?
So one thing, Ricardo, this is kind of awesome. I think actually, I got guilt tripped yesterday for not inviting like someone from the DSci community who we probably should have invited. And I was just thinking, like, I think we were like didn't totally expect to have the response that we actually got from speakers. So we aimed to like achievable, people rather than thinking of like who's the best possible people we could get in here. And so yeah, like the community, I guess the wider DSci community kind of expected that we could do that. And I think they were so impressed with the lineup that was there that like, we were getting criticism for not thinking more broadly. So yeah, I think that's a huge compliment actually for being the first event. So yeah, I think the speakers were super great.
Yeah, I think that's really awesome. That's actually one of the best compliments that we could have got. People wanting to participate, and people thinking like you should have got this one and this other person here. So, well, that means we already have an action for the next one. Should hire and get more people. Maybe if I can give a feedback myself, we should probably extend the slots because people like to talk, especially about this really interesting topics. So we will definitely extend the talks to at least 30 minutes for everyone for the next event. And what do you think? Should we go for a three? Because SciCon started as a 1 week event. We were like thinking big. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this like 1 week long and maybe segment all the talks. And then we kind of like we were like, okay, this is the first one. We should probably aim for something smaller, and we kind of like compacted that into a weekend. So next time, if we had to do it again, would you? And let's say we have more speakers, would you go on a 3 day, or would you still keep the 2 day during the weekend and kind of like extend the timing? Because I looked at the registrations, sorry, the recordings, and they were like in between 2.5 to 3.5 hours. So maybe that could have been longer. I don't know. Just want your feedback here.
Well, I'm thinking that pretty big conferences like Psychonomics, for example, I think are just a weekend. So I don't know if we need more days. It's tough to say because if we have more days, are people really going to show up more days? It's like people will probably show up for the ones they're interested in, just like at Psychonomics, you know what I mean? I feel like by the end of many of these conferences, people are usually conferenced out. I could be wrong, but that's kind of my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Edwin?
I agree with Lynn. I think keeping scarcity when you have good response is always a good thing. But are you guys thinking about doing it biannually, or what kind of time frame for the next one do you think?
So SciCon, if you ask me, but then again, we're a community, so we can even put that to a vote. I think SciCon should be annual. So we should have our event in, I like actually the timing too, kind of like mid-July. Something that I said we should make sure we do not step on other people's toes. So, for example, there was also ECC in Paris, and there was a DSci workshop there. So that kind of probably ate out some of the people. So if we make sure we don't do that again next time, I think the timing, July every year for SciCon, is a good one. It makes people remember that we have SciCon at the same time of the year. It makes it a recurring thing, and I think it just looks good. And then we can have an alternate kind of semesters. Let's say in 3-4 months, we could have a different thing. So an hackathon. So the next one could be a more practical thing when people get to code and get to work on practical things. So we alternate hackathons and conferences.
What about like well, I mean, I don't know, it depends on resources, but like a grant competition type thing where people write grants for the different types of research, and we could have like, you know, some amount of money where there's a competition, and that would be the award. So similar to the ELN, but more detailed, and people would actually like be way more incentivized to present their research.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. I'm less entitled to talk probably here, Patrick.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea, Edwin. If we end up shipping some kind of like a grant feature, having like a marketing event around it where there's like a competition, I think that's a great idea. And we could probably put something together where we already have a few like grantors who are willing to like supply that, you know, pot of tokens or cash or whatever. But yeah, I think we that might be the order of operations. There might be like MVP testing a grant feature, actually like getting to like building it. And then once we have it like built out, have that be like our kickoff, like launch, you know, I think marketing event. Jeff?
So, yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to go for like, say, more speakers, say we had kind of an influx of really quality speakers and we want all of them, I think instead of extending it out to like a 4-day event or something, or a 3-4-day event, we had a pretty short, I mean, like the first day was only 3 hours long. I think we can extend the length of time per day. But if we do decide to do that, to make sure to include breaks in between. So like usually every 2 to 3 speakers, you include like a little 10 to 15-minute break. And I think that'd be probably a better way to go than to have like a 4-day thing where it bleeds into the weekday and then people's like work life takes over and stuff like that.
What about a 2-weekend kind of thing? So we kicked it off actually Friday, last Friday, no, the Friday before. So we could have had that on 2 weekends, let's say. If but that's maybe too scattered. I don't know. That could be another idea.
One thing I was thinking that would have been nice is like if it's a content creation type of thing where people are supposed to be working during the week in the background, like maybe like every night at a regular time, there's 2 talks. So like Monday evening, there's 2 talks. Tuesday evening, there's 2 talks. Wednesday evening, there's 2 talks. And then there's like the actual conference, you know, over the weekend, but like having a regular thing where, you know, there's some kind of content that justifies us pinging people saying, hey, you registered for this, finish your, you know, like content. We're having a thing tonight, you know, like just to get in people's inboxes more. And then yeah, just in general, I think it's like easier for me personally to like have like an hour worth of content rather than like 5 or 6 hours. It can be a lot, like 2 days in a row personally. But
another consideration would be if we introduce more types of competitions where people would be a little bit more interactive with each other. So it would be fun to actually watch, right? So that we can have another 3rd day with a completely different type of content where people present stuff, right? And we just sit there and watch people present their ELN or posters or whatnot. I think it would be important to alternate content types between different days so that people don't get too fatigued.
Yeah, I completely agree. So before we get into the competitions, just for the speakers, I was saying I kind of like feel the same way. I kind of like get tired if the day gets too long. So if we can keep the day kind of like short in the same way, maybe adding some breaks, extending the slots, and then if we get more speakers, you know, planning to maybe move some speakers that we think could suit more during the week, having them during the week, and then having some other speakers during the weekend. And yeah, something that I wanted to say is I really appreciated because I see Cole here. I really liked his talk, and I think this is something that we should do as a community for the next event. We should have more people like Cole presenting. Maybe this is something that could go, for example, during the week. And this like, hey, I'm a ResearchHub member, and you know, apart what I do on ResearchHub and during my kind of like research during the day, this is a passion I have, and I think this kind of like helps accelerate science in some ways. So I really like that initiative, and I really hope that we can do that again for the next one. Malik?
Yeah, one thing that occurs during academic conferences, which sometimes if we have a lot of speakers, we can do is we can have two talks go on concurrently, and people can pick and choose what they go to. And I mean, eventually these are recorded, so like, people can listen into the other one too. But if we have a situation where we have a lot of speakers and we want to accommodate all, and you can have two of them go concurrently.
Yeah, that could be another solution. I think that's debatable. Like that depends on the person. Like kind of remembers me when I was going to festivals and I had like two stages of DJs that I really liked, and I did not know what to decide in between the two. So that sometimes can get tough if you want to kind of like listen to both of the talks and they are at the same time. You either decide to listen to one after you get the recordings, or you cannot really attend both in live. But that could definitely be a solution if we get a lot of speakers and we cannot fit them in all in a week. That's definitely something that we should consider. Okay. Yeah, Ioana?
Yeah. So I think the weekend schedule was kind of overwhelming, in the sense that maybe some people had to sense that they have to give a part of their free time to participate to SciCon. And I really like what Patrick said, like to prepare next time the participants, in the sense to pinch them to participate. Like, look, this is the task, this is the main theme of the competition, so maybe you would like to participate. And if people like video content so much, I mean, I personally liked call ideas with interacting with videos and content creation for research. Maybe it could be something related to that. I mean, for example, Jeffrey started to post a video and it was very interesting, but maybe something interactive live to connect the research with the video content. And also, in this way, with the grants idea, maybe we can like attract persons from universities or from laboratories who are like very committed to present the research.
Yeah, I really agree with you. I think this was the V1 of the competition, so
Yeah.
if there's I feel like it could have been more interactive. So I agree with you. We can definitely do better in that regard for the next one. And for what you said about the weekends and the weekday, we kind of debated that for some time. It was 2 months ago when we were deciding when to do SciCon, and we were really debated, do we do this over the weekend and kind of eat up some of the free time of people maybe during vacation, or I don't know, or do we do that during the week and eat up some of the work that. So my idea was, if you have free time and you want to participate, you can do that. If you have work, you probably cannot. So that's why we decided to go for the weekend. But that's a good point that you raised. Some people may just not be interested to spend their time during the weekend. So, but that's a tough one. We'll have to decide something.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a way in between. I don't know.
Yeah, they could make time for SciCon. As long as they're making time for other hackathons, they could make time for SciCon also to
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I also wanted to add, Ricardo. I think that so we had some KPIs that we set, which was, if I remember correctly, 25 people to register for the ELN competitions or the competitions, and then I think 100 people to attend the conference. And at least based off of the people who registered, we went above that. So we had 30 or 40 people register for the competitions, and then
45 for the present your research and 41 for the ELN. So we almost doubled that.
Yeah, so that was pretty great to see. And then the amount of audience members that registered was 140 or something like that. And we were aiming for 100. So I know not that many people participated in the competition, but at least people that were expressing some kind of interest and for whatever reason didn't end up doing it. I thought that was really exciting to see.
Yeah, it was really exciting to track that day by day. So this week I'll go over some of the analytics and I will provide you with some more data next week. But I think there could be something there where we analyze, for example, why we had such a bad kind of like conversion rate from people that register into actually people that submitted. But that's something that we want to work on for kind of like the next iteration. Okay, any other thoughts on this?
I think a last thing to say was like the social media, I think was like on another level kind of compared to like what we've been doing in the past. And so I think it's exciting to get a lot more like social exposure out as opposed to kind of like, it's important, I think, to build kind of, stealth mode. But I think when you do an event, you really want to be kind of outward facing. So I thought that we did a pretty wonderful job on that front. And we've been incorporating UTMs on like a lot of the links now for the different social medias. So we'll have analytics on exactly where a lot of the user base is coming from, and we can kind of lean into that a lot more now. So I think going forward, we have a lot more tools that came out of this event that'll kind of set us up and posture us much better for the future.
Yeah, and I think we need to continue to press on with the social media stuff. I don't think we should, step back and wait for another conference or anything like that.
We're planning to do so.
Yeah.
We're planning to keep the same level, leading to the other one. I think the social media game was really good this time.
Yeah.
That was also probably due to my 25 followers, but that could also be.
Well, especially with the bounty feature coming up. I don't know how long we're thinking, but I think we should definitely lean into that. So.
Sorry, which one?
With the bounty feature coming up.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
that's actually shipped on last Friday. We have like a question and answer bounty, and then we'll add like bounties for peer review and like bounties for summaries of paper sometime this week.
Okay. Well, we need to. Okay. So how? Wait, that shipped last Friday. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, we haven't done like any like content about it yet. But if you go to ResearchHub's homepage, there's a new like post type. If you go to the top right corner, I can just walk through it if you want. Maybe I'll do that at the end of the SciCon stuff. They'll demo the new question and answer feature.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Hey, yeah, just in continuing the conversation about social media, do you think that it would be possible to maybe, like there was the slide for where you could join live on ResearchHub's website, but do you think it would also be beneficial to do like audio only on Twitter, for example? So there's a Twitter space of what's going on. You can do the same sort of thing with Instagram, and you can do Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well, just to increase exposure. If that's something that's interesting for people. I mean, I could probably do Facebook Live through my, or sorry, not Facebook. I could do YouTube Live through my YouTube channel as well, just as a demo.
You're talking in the context of an event or in general, as a, let's say, general practice?
In the context of an event in particular.
Okay, so for the event, we kind of like played a bit with the simultaneous live stream, thanks to Sadvik that I see here in the audience. We kind of like thought about doing that for the first time with this event, and we streamed that first to YouTube, then they kind of like, closed our account. Now we got it back, so we can do that again. But we also streamed through Vimeo, so that is possible. We can live stream at the same time while we're doing the Zoom call. With the Twitter Spaces, I think there's some potential there. For example, in like we now have all the transcript, like the recordings of the talks. So we could, for example, think about playing that, segmenting all of the talks, and we can have even like individual kind of like users opening a Twitter Space for something, and yeah, to Facebook Live as well. So I think there's definitely some potential, and in general, the more engagement that we can create coming from the community, it's always a good thing.
On that note, because the conference was recorded, is the plan to break that up into several pieces of content specifically for ResearchHub? Because we've done because the conference is done, you could break up, like you were saying, each talk into individual pieces and then post those on ResearchHub, just so that way people can view it if they missed the conference.
Yes, 100%. Cole, if you have any interest in like helping out with that, if you've done that before, it would be amazing. The other thing too is I totally agree that we should be like streaming through every avenue possible. When we did AMAs before, we used, I forget what the name of the tool was, but it was like a live streaming like website, like Crowd something, I forget what it is. But we actually got like a decent amount of signups through that platform just because like they do some of the discovery, for you. So yeah, I think like as many platforms as we can have discovery, like opening the funnel wide to have people come in, we'll get more attendance, more people like actually caring about ResearchHub. So yeah, next event, let's totally do that. Like let's get in as many platforms as we can just to help the numbers out.
I think we could also stream live on LinkedIn. It's something that I was thinking about.
That's a good idea.
Totally do that. Yeah.
That's a good idea. So where are the videos of all the talks and everything from SciCon?
They're in processing.
Oh,
No, we have all of the recordings. We have to kind of like cut the beginning and the end, but we're gonna we'll put them out soon.
Okay.
But yeah, we're processing them.
Yeah, if you need some help with that, like I'm proficient in video editing, so that's.
No, 100%. Thank you.
It's awesome.
Sadvik, Joanna, I don't know who's first.
Along with Cole's idea, maybe we can do a freemium free feature. I mean, in time, for example, how Spotify does 3 months free, and after you pay, I don't know, $5 or how much is the subscription. And in this way, there are lots of incentives to participate. Also, maybe for universities, let's say if their content is protected or there are some property rights, I mean, maybe we can do some collaboration along with that. And I think, for example, persons like Cole who work a lot, they could be rewarded, and then other artists or like content creators could be interested into this.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And if anyone has any insight into how to possibly do this, please reach out because we might definitely consider this for the next event. Sadvik?
So I might, what I'm going to say might already be in motion, and I might just not be in the loop. So I think that for the upcoming events, we could have better post-event marketing, wherein we've collected all of these emails, and what do we do with them now so that they end up turning into active community members instead of just fizzling away. So I think that should be something that we really carefully plan out for the next event. Right. I get that we didn't have enough time to do it this time around. Yeah, so that's one thing. And also I absolutely love Patrick's idea of having sort of little talks all through the week. I think since we'll most likely definitely have more speakers coming up, spreading it throughout the week so that it becomes sort of a part of people's daily schedules for an entire week. I think that would be really great to improve our retention rates after the event is done.
Sadvik, to jump in real quick, one thing that we've been like kind of perplexed by is we have just atrocious email marketing stats. Like we're way below benchmarks on email opens and like clicks. And so I don't know if that's just like our clientele doesn't respond well to email marketing, or like if there's something wrong with our copy. So if that's something that you're into, like we're kind of like a little bit confused why our stats are so low. So would love to like work with you on improving it.
I think it's because it gets a listen into my Gmail inbox. It goes into promotions.
That's right.
So my best friend also was not able to get it. Like it did not see the email because it was in the promotions. And most of the time you don't check the promotions, unfortunately. So if there's a way to get into the general, the main folder, that would, I think, like at least double or triple the clicks.
We could just remind people to greenlight it. That would probably make a difference.
Yeah, kind of an aside though. We probably need to do like another call at some point focused on that, just to actually take more advantage of it. But I'll coordinate with you, Sadvik.
Okay.
Usually people get the direct emails when they subscribe. So for example, if we have a blog or journal posting or like some stories on the ResearchHub main page, it will be different because for the moment nobody knows our product and what it's about. So we should like advertise in some way.
Yeah, I think there's plans to do some more blogs, some more articles. So I think this event really kickstarted some more things that will come. So let's see. We'll test with many things and see what sticks and what gets more people on board, because that's the end goal. Okay, so it's already almost half an hour. Let's switch to the most interesting part, the negative side, because that's where we learn from. So what did not go as well as you would have liked to see better for next time? And be honest, please. Be honest.
So yeah, I think it kind of like the other side of the positive thing is that like clearly we have like a little bit of clout and we can attract, pretty good speakers. So maybe next time thinking of like tiering out potential speakers of like dream level, like here's who we should reach out to first, and like just tiering it out where we take shots at really, really, hard to get people, and then kind of like filter down and figure out exactly who we can get to attend these kinds of events and like how much value it is to be associated with ResearchHub's brand, kind of.
Yeah.
I think also having more people who signed up for the EL1 competition actually participating would have been good. We might have not been clear enough about what the competition was. I don't know.
So I get that feeling too, but at the same time, like the submissions that I saw were on point. Like we're good.
Totally.
The people that actually submitted good content.
Mhm.
So that makes me wonder what we exactly did wrong there. Could have been communication, probably, like people at a first sight, maybe people that was really interested into the competition, maybe had those 5 minutes more to go through the rules and be like, okay, this is actually doable in, I don't know, like a couple hours. Let me do this. But people that were there to just see, like, is this something I can do? They were probably not getting that at first sight. So this is where we should probably improve. I think that's my understanding of the situation here.
Maybe we should also give the opportunity to submit using different types of media, because like writing it out is quite difficult for some people. Maybe I don't know. So just a thought, but I could imagine someone wanting to do something equivalent to a lecture and submitting that, and that might be something that some people might prefer. So.
Yeah, that's true. We cannot like put it in a way that it was like a submission. So we cannot allow to include videos and images too. Like for example, Todd's submission was really great in the way he explained the concept, because he put text, images, and an explanatory video. That was perfect in the sense that exactly. So people could have done that, but as you said, it seemed by if you're coming from outside of ResearchHub, it really seems like you have to submit an article. So that was probably making it a little bit I don't know, too much of a the burden to take on a weekend. So I don't know, that could be an explanation, definitely. Malik?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for putting all the efforts for the SciCon. It was overall great. This is in a way minor, but in a way kind of important to have it look like the conference is like professional grade is like. So like the first talk, when Brian Armstrong was talking with you guys, you and Patrick, the interface kind of stuck on for a while, and then there was some lag in the talk and stuff. So when like somebody important like him is there, like maybe like have the best background, like it's seamless and stuff. It's a small thing. I mean, you guys put a lot of effort, so I appreciate that. But just because if we are making this like big, then somebody important needs to have like all the best attention and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We had a couple issues there, but somehow we still managed to at least get some content out. I think that's still a positive side of that. I agree that was a little clunky, was not the best talk, but we'll definitely. I think here a common ground for all of the negative things is just in general like more planning. I kind of like gave myself a 2 months time that I worked to work on this. I started working on this was actually a little bit more. It was like beginning of June, so it was more like beginning of May, so it was like 2 months and a half. But probably a 3 month schedule is safer to get through this in a way that everything is more organized. And yeah, more like yeah, we should have planned that better, but you know, we'll get it better next time.
Yeah,
This is
you'll
what I
have
can
a
say
better
for-
sense of delegation next time too. So I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, not a huge deal. I was just discussing because we wanted to talk about if there were any issues. So yeah.
Oh, I don't know who was first. Cole?
Yeah. So just really building off Malik's point, like maybe doing a dry run with all of the presenters before the speaking block to make sure that people are already signed in, ready to go. Because I know that there was some interruption for Ariella and the Women in Web3 panel. Just to kind of avoid situations like that, basically just get everybody quick on it
Yeah,
once.
that was really last minute, if not into the minute, kind of issue. And I just literally saw the message like a couple of seconds before, so I had to introduce it very brief. So yeah, as you said, that's also another. We hit little bumps there, but yeah, we'll definitely do better. Absolutely, Jeff.
Yeah, so I think just to jump in here, one thing which is like a little bit of a challenge is like, especially if we try to aim for like really prestigious speakers, like their time is valuable. And so sometimes it's hard to be like, hey, like come show up early in order to like, tech check things. Like, so trying to figure out how we can do that without necessarily like using the speaker's time, I think would be a valuable, like, if that's even possible, thing to look into.
By the way, did we reach out to Balaji to be a speaker?
Not for this time. I kind of figured like for the first time we're just gonna see how it goes,
Yeah.
And I think now that like that was, at least in my estimation, like really, really well done for the first time. And so now that we know we can do that, I think it makes sense to go full speed ahead for the next one for sure.
Yeah.
One quick suggestion maybe for the speakers, if taking up some of their time is an issue, maybe for the Zoom call, having a breakout room where people that are presenting can join first and do like a mic check. Just that way,
Yeah,
that's right and ready to go.
We had that for the Zoom, and that again depends on when the speaker joins. Sometimes the speaker joins 1 minute before, 2 minutes before, 5 minutes, so you get a little bit more time. For with Tushar, for example, he joined couple like I think it was like exactly like 5 minutes before as we asked. So we got a lot of time to present him. Jeff did a great job on presenting Tushar, and I kind of like really enjoyed the talk myself. And also I think it's kind of like part of it because you get the time to introduce the speaker. So yeah, once again, I agree with you, Cole. Jeff?
Yeah, I think actually one time Balaji was, I think you did an AMA with him, right, Patrick? Like a year or so ago. So yeah, I think that'd be cool to have him on board next time. I think one thing that we should definitely include to ease the mind of people who are trying to join the competitions, and I think we should do this for other things too, which is put like a time commitment estimation. So if we want the community to get involved in anything, we should like bold, like, hey, 20-minute commitment. And if you're going to do the competition, bold 2-hour commitment, because some people will read something and they'll think, oh, that's so daunting. I have to spend 6 hours to do this. But if they see that it's a short time commitment, I think people will be more inclined to be involved.
Also, like kind of one thought I had with the content production, like for people here who wrote blogs, like how long did it take you? Because like my own experience, I like blocked out 3 days of 2 hours at the end of the day to write it, and I got like 3/4 of the way through a blog without editing. Like definitely was not ready for public consumption. And so I almost think if we want to do something like this for the next time, like a month, to be like, you can start writing or like start collaborating with people, start submitting a month beforehand, just to really spread it out. Because yeah, you got to spend a decent chunk of time of your week, to do it all in 7 days.
Oh, yeah, in that way, it will be closer to traditional conferences, right? They have a long call to action window where you can submit your stuff.
Yeah, I agree. We should definitely expand a bit the window. That again was, I think, kind of like a consequence of a little bit of bad timing in like, but for myself, in like giving the overall length of the schedule. But yeah, we should definitely extend a little bit more the time for the people to submit.
With Patrick's idea about blogs, some users, especially Web3 users, are incentivized by bounties. So maybe we can do some bounties for the blog post also. And related to the prestigious speakers ideas, I mean, I like this idea, but like to be something different, we should not place the attention on the prestigious speaker, and we should place the attention like on the person who submits and who participates in the competition, because this could be counterintuitive to advertising, but like the best advertising is done by users and by persons who want to grow research. And yeah, so it's awesome that the prestigious speaker will talk, but like the main idea should be on what this conference should aim at. And I think research, it's the answer.
Okay, so just to repeat it back, you think like users should be more in the kind of like in the spotlight, and having less kind of like the speakers in the background being like kind of like a side of the conference. Let's say we have this competition, this is what is the conference is about, and then we also have some speakers giving some talks. Yeah, I get your point. I think it's important to emphasize, even taking as an example our first SciCon event, the speakers part went great. The part that didn't go so well were probably the competitions. So we'll do a better job in making sure next time we have a more of a balanced situation in between emphasizing the people that submit and the users and the speakers, that we also hope to have some amazing speakers.
So I think just to dig into this idea a little bit too, because I do think like one thing we've been thinking about with ResearchHub is how to increase our prestige and become like more attractive to like the average academic. And I do think part of that is being associated with like big name scientists, whether it's through speaking slots or stuff like that. So I think there's actually a lot of value in marketing the speakers initially. But Joanna, you have a great point where like the best advertising comes from users being genuine. So like I think we should probably hit up everybody who submitted to the competition who's not like a regular part of like ResearchHub's like community, and just talk to them. And then maybe even eventually like they'd be willing to do like a 30-second quick video of like what they enjoyed about it, what they like about ResearchHub, and then we can publish video content like of actual users talking about like why they enjoyed participating in SciCon kind of thing. I know like Molecule does some of these videos, and they're like super well produced and stuff, but I always find them pretty compelling. But Joanna, you're right. Like taking some of the positive experiences and creating marketing materials out of them, I think would be like pretty compelling.
Yeah.
Havoc.
Yeah, and in addition to the previous point, those marketing videos could also we could also incentivize or just ask the people to share it on their own personal platforms, right? And not make it look like super well polished, so that it still looks organic, and it that way it can reach further into their own private networks, right? Also, the original point that I had to make was that this is specifically about our Twitter strategy. So the tweets that we put out were almost all of them were linking to something else, right? Or they had an image of the speaker, right? And I am in DSci, and like I'm supposed to know more some of those people, but if I didn't know about ResearchHub beforehand, it wouldn't have interested me, as speaking as a customer. So what would have been more interesting would have been threads, uh, threads that would have informed me about why that topic matters. So like 3 to 4 tweets that could simply point out the problem that this talk could help solve, and then a link to it. So that could have increased my chances of clicking on it significantly, as opposed to seeing just a photo of the speaker and not having any clue who he or she is. So that is one sort of feedback I had.
Or we could just get Snoop Dogg. Shout us out on Twitter.
Let's change his name to like Science Dog or something like that.
you
Yeah, that's a good point, Satvik. Actually, like I remember reading a tweet thread on like how to retain like users and how to like onboard like a large quantity of users, and the biggest thing that it said was like provide free information to people, because it's one thing to like kind of shill a project or shill a person, but when you provide free information about something, the person gets value out of that for not inputting anything themselves, and they're more likely to come back to seek more information from the platform itself. So it's a good point.
We can even probably put this on to the speakers to say, hey, we want to market your stuff. Why does your talk matter? Like, just tell us why, and we'll translate it into tweets for you.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, because like I was spread pretty thin across a bunch of stuff, and like I was the one writing a lot of the social media content, and it would have been way too daunting to like be able to do that on top of like all the other stuff. So I think if we put the ball in the court of the speaker, they can probably hype it up more than like somebody else can, you know? So that's a good idea. I'll write that down.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, definitely getting the speakers to write their own social media content, I think, is a great idea, because then it's less work on people here, and the speakers can then communicate the ideas they specifically want. But I was going to go really talk about the ELN submissions. I found that because I'm no longer in academia, and the science that I work on is proprietary for my company, I can't say like, hey, this is what I'm working on, because I'm legally bound to not tell people. Is it possible to have another competition for perhaps summarizing or submitting any science, not just the science that you're doing? That way you can get other people creatively coming up with ideas like presentations, posters, whatever, just submit and just capture more of an audience outside of academia.
Cool. We should totally just start building this community of like people who want to create scientific videos, because I see something like really valuable in the future where authors pay content creators to make videos about their papers, and it's like a win-win-win where it's like more layman friendly, the author gets more citations, you know, like more people see their paper, like, and to do that we need to build a community of these creators. So yeah, I think we need to definitely put some effort into this, and it could be like really, really valuable for ResearchHub if we're able to get, you know, 5-10 people who want to fulfill those kinds of bounties.
Well, especially with science content creators who are sort of on your level, Cole, who aren't like huge already and could use more of the audience. I think that there might be like more room for cooperation there.
Yeah, because there's a handful of people. There's Eleanor Shiki, which she posts here. There's somebody on YouTube called Boomy at the Benchtop. His stuff, I haven't gone. It's not quite the same, but it's still science related content.
Yeah.
That he doesn't have a huge audience.
Yeah.
But I think would be interested in doing that as well. But yeah, I agree. Like getting a core group of people that want to create science content would do wonders.
Yeah, Satvik has an amazing point. Like I'm sitting here reading abstracts like it's 1995. Like it's time to move to video content. Like I think that could be so compelling for people.
100%. Like I think I've been, you know, hyper bullish on scientific influencers. Like really, I think like the evolution of science will come from people that are able to effectively communicate science and get other people hyped about what they do. Because I realized that myself when I was at the beginning of my research and I was telling to people what I did. I was like, not really interesting. But then I tried to get a little bit better, and I got more people into it. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, you can solve these problems and this, and that. So again, if we can get some of these micro influencers, some ResearchHub, they could play a big role into kind of like, starting this.
Even larger influencers like Dr. Knock, NOC.
Depends on if we can get them. Really depends on
Yeah,
that.
reach out to so many of them, and it also just like depends on the structure of what you offer, right? So the ones that did respond, when we talked about something akin to an editorship, it was just not something. It's just kind of weird, They are used to people hitting them up and just paying them for featuring them in their videos, so it's like a little bit of a throw off. So maybe we want to think about what kind of compensation structures, or not. I don't like compensation structure. I like involvement structure more than anything, especially at this stage, that would be most appealing to somebody who's a relatively large science communicator.
If you can move the competition on ResearchHub and create a sort of like reputation system where these influencers kind of like compete to be the best on ResearchHub, that creates a positive effect where people want to share more, and because they want to be on ResearchHub, they want to be on the top. Like we have a leaderboards now for users. We could have the same for content creators. And Cole video got played 500 times in the past week, and then we have Jeff videos that got played 1,000 times. So there could be something really positive here, for ResearchHub, but in general for like the communication of science. I think there's really something big here.
Yeah, I'll put this on an action item to schedule another call, because I think we should probably do like half an hour just dedicated to getting the wheels, put in motion on this. Because I totally agree with everybody here. I think this would be very, very cool.
Yeah, sorry, Patrick. You want to go over the bounty feature? We have 10 minutes left. I don't want to eat up some more time. Just tell me what you want to do.
Yeah, it should only take 5 minutes to do that. So I guess like any final thoughts on SciCon before we wrap up? Any like last feedback from anybody? Good, bad, could be better?
Maybe something. Should we open up a channel where you put in feedbacks, or just reach out to me, whatever. If you find there's a place where you would like to put in some feedbacks, I think maybe you think about what we said today, and something comes up tomorrow. If you want us to create a place where we put the feedbacks, or maybe just reach out to us individually. I think whatever works, but whatever is most comfortable for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So any other last thoughts here before we move on to the bounties feature? Cool. So I'll share my screen. We can go through this. And then this was shipped on Friday, and I think it's like actually one of our better new shipping. Sorry, this is miserable. I gotta log into my thing. Apologize. I think we did a pretty good job with this V1. So curious to hear what everybody thinks. Just give me 1 second. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, so the way this works is we have a new post type, which is ask a question. So you go to new, ask a question, and there can be a title of a question. So does the Earth orbit the sun? Question. You can add information to like add additional context to your question in case anybody needs it. And then you can post it in a specific hub. So astrophysics. When you ask the question, it shows up as like a new post. If I want to add a bounty to this, I can add a research coin bounty. So say I want to add like 100 research coin. I put it in there. There's a 9% fee, 2 of which goes to the ResearchHub community's multisig, and 7 of which goes to ResearchHub Inc. as revenue. So the final total ends up being 9% plus like the additional bounty that I wanted to put like into the post. 2 little important details here. The bounty ends in 30 days or as soon as you accept an answer. And then as soon as you press add bounty, the fee is gone. So if you end up canceling it later, it's already been distributed to ResearchHub and the ResearchHub community. So I go in here and I add bounty. Now my bounty has been added to this question. I can share on Twitter if I want to share on Twitter, or I can copy the URL to send to any of my friends that I think it would apply to. And so now that I have this bounty, I can either ask a clarifying question. I can like comment on it if it's a comment, or I can try and answer it. And then once there's an answer, this is kind of tricky because I'm the same person answering and asking the question. I can accept the answer to say this is the right answer and then award the bounty. And so that bounty, I just gave it to myself with the right answer here. So this is kind of like the overall of how the new question and answer like bounties work. Jeff had a great example earlier today. I guess I've got this here in the chat, so we can see Jeff's example. He put 1,000 research coin bounty on a specific question that he needs help with for his research. So again, like the use case for this is gigantic. Like a question can be one of like, you can phrase almost anything as a question, Jeopardy style. So yeah, excited to kind of see how people use this. And we can even do like can you make a video for this paper? Bounties for that kind of thing can be done through like in a more bespoke fashion through this question and answer feature as well. So yeah, that's kind of like the overall. Any thoughts, questions, feedback here?
I love the revenue feature is kind of functioning as a way to burn the tokens. So I love that, but it's like completely plausible from a legal perspective.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, I think like ResearchHub Inc. can't burn anything, but the community can do whatever they want with their tokens. In theory, we'd have to run it past a lawyer, but yeah. So
I'm saying that even the tokens are going to ResearchHub Inc. The fact that they're taken out of circulation. I mean, obviously you can put it in circulation, presumably some point much further in the future, but it's serving as a burning mechanism. I think that's great that you can do it in a way that's plausibly legal.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to actually have some like financial value flowing through ResearchHub. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that's going to come out of this.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about the legality of like sending things to like a dead wallet? Like, is that something that we can or can't do, or what?
I'm not sure. Again, like we're on like a recorded public call, so like
Right.
I don't know, like read too much about like what you're allowed to do and not.
Fair, yeah. I genuinely don't know, what what is typically allowed with that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think in general, burning is not great, but a lot
Gotcha.
of people do it, so I'd have to talk to a lawyer to figure it out. Jeff?
Yeah, one thing that I think it's kind of a cool byproduct of it is that it's almost like locking your RSC, or it's like almost a pseudo staking feature where your stuff is staked for up to 30 days. So I think that's nice because it kind of helps retain a lot of the RSC on the platform, even if there's like an open bounty but nobody takes it. It's kind of nice because it keeps it sequestered in there. I'd say the one thing that I would like kind of threw me off a little bit from the UI UX perspective was when I was initially typing in the title and the question, I thought that is where I was supposed to input the bounty. So I was typing that out and I was like, I don't see any option for me to put in the bounty. And I actually thought it was a bug. So I was like, I initially went on there, typed it out, and I was like, oh, I guess it's a bug. It's not ready. I exited. And then I tried it again later and noticed that you had the bounty on the next screen. So I think if you include that in the first screen, it would be super beneficial.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that we need to do when it comes to like helping to make bounties more discoverable. Like even right now, Jeff, that was like exactly what we want people to use the feature, and you can't tell from the homepage. So yeah, I think like once it becomes more clear that you can do this kind of behavior, there's a lot of wrinkles that we need to work out. And I agree that having some indication of like you can add a bounty here on the first screen is probably important.
Or I mean like, sorry, I meant like on the screen where you're typing, like when you are the person that's submitting it. Like on the homepage, of course, having a thing like an open bounties tab, but like the submitter on that first screen should know that it feels like you should be able to add the bounty on that screen, not the next screen after it's already been posted.
It's a great point. I'll mention that to Kobe because I know there was like an intentional reason. It's modeled after Stack Overflow and how they do it, but I think Stack Overflow doesn't have it as part of their business model, and also it's like its reputation. Like there's no financial value, so I think there's less compelling reasons to add bounties on Stack Overflow. But it's a great point, Jeff, and I'll relay to Kobe so that way he's aware.
I just want to make a quick specification to Lynn and to many persons that are asking about the thing about ResearchCoin. The fact that it's not traded and it's converted into Ethereum or other cryptocurrency, let's say, it doesn't have the life on its own. So until ResearchCoin, it's traded either on exchanges or other stuff. It's basically what the research community, this research hub community gives sense to. So that's our value that is created in our community. Until it's not traded, we don't have that much concerns about other regulations.
Yeah. So one thought that I had about Tushar's talk, which was interesting, where he said denominate everything in USD, and you can have the token happening in the background. Jeff, like, is there any desire from your end, like when you make that bounty, to have it be in a USD value and the research coin amount fluctuates? Where it's like you put $50 on the bounty and like the actual research coin, is in question, or like maybe there's a half step where the research coin is fixed, but like the US dollar value of that is a little bit more prominent from a UI perspective. I thought that point that Tushar like drilled home multiple times was interesting and applies to what we're doing now.
The only issue with that, though, if we chose the one where the dollar was fixed and the research coin fluctuated, what if it somehow fluctuated to the point where the person couldn't pay the bounty or like was no longer willing to pay the bounty? It seems like having the research coin fixed and showing the dollar amount would make more sense.
It'd be tricky. Yeah, I'm not sure how to do it the best way, but just interested if we should start thinking about that potentially.
Probably.
Well, we could have a dynamic bid process or something like that if we wanted to do a research coin and show the equivalent in dollars, and then people who are interested could potentially say, okay, I'd be willing to do it for this amount or something like that. I think that'd be like a more feasible way of doing it, other than just because if you just have research coin in the background, there's that kind of takes away from the primacy of the coin to the platform and may actually like ultimately take away some of the value that can be accrued into the market cap there. So I think the visibility there is also important.
Yeah, but also like having the USD equivalent instead of having to like, I find on ResearchHub it's difficult to find how much a research coin is actually worth. So I have to go through a couple steps. I actually have it bookmarked personally, so that way I can look at the chart to make a comparison. For the people already just with the bounties would incentivize people to be like, oh yeah, that's worth $5 worth of my time if I know what the answer to that question is, or like I would actually really appreciate more for that type of request.
Yeah. It's a great thought. I know like there's like some wiggle consideration to having the USD prices, but I know a lot more projects are doing it now than we're doing it, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So we'll have to look into it to make sure that we can do that. But I know Brian's wanted to do that for a while and we've just been waiting until kind of the coast is clear. So yeah, I think we can definitely start to think about how we would do it with this feature specifically.
What is coast is clear?
Legal.
We're retiring or
no, we just don't get sued. I think just there's an evolving understanding of what you can do to not violate securities regulations.
Yeah.
Safik?
Personally, if I'm just browsing bounties on maybe Dwork or some other DAOs, and I come across a bounty in USD, I'm much more likely to actually go ahead and check it out, as opposed to finding bounties that are 1,000 of any random coin and then that I'm not aware of, and then checking them out, and then it turns out to be like $1 worth, like $1 or $2. So that's sort of disappointing. So having them in USD could have this added benefit. Also, I had to ask, do we plan to create some sort of an automated system wherein So for example, if you've asked, does the Earth revolve around the sun, and you've added 1,000 RSC bounty to it, do we plan to incorporate something that automatically posts it to public sort of places like debug? And in case we have that, then it would make even more sense to at least show USD values in those public spaces. And then maybe on RSC, it could be on ResearchHub, it could be in RSC for the reasons that Edwin stated.
It's actually, that's such a good idea, Sapik. I don't know, like I might just be an old person now, but when I was like looking for jobs and I was in grad school and stuff, like I would go to Craigslist, and I actually found like a couple jobs through Craigslist. So I bet it's very feasible for us to like cross post bounties to Craigslist saying, hey, if you're a scientist, you want to do a peer review, like boom, just all over Craigslist. So that's a super good idea, and I think would be good for V2. So I'll write that down and pitch it to Kobe and see if he's excited about it. Cool. Yeah, so we're a couple minutes over now, but any other last thoughts on the bounties feature? This has been great feedback so far. Thanks for everybody for being so excited about it.
Yeah, I feel like we've been waiting for it for so long.
I think it looks really good, by the way. And I like the ability to immediately share it and copy the URL as well.
Yeah, big time props to Kobe. Kobe led the development of this one and was really hands-on. I think he did a great job. Even like I think it's a lot less buggy than some of our like normal features that we ship. So I think he put a ton of work in. Yeah, and as Jeff said, like if you follow the GitHub, he's shipping stuff all the time. So yeah, this is big time props to Kobe. So feel free to reach out to him and let him know that you enjoy it if you do.
How do you access it, by the way, from the like I see Jeff's link and everything, but is it like, how do you do that? Is it just a post and then you click bounty, or?
So that's something that we're going to ship later this week. Right now, it's just for the question type. So you have to start a new question from the homepage. This is great to hear though, that it's not super obvious, because we need to make it obvious for people. So you have to go to the homepage, click plus new, and then this question, and then ask a question, and then after that you can add a bounty.
Okay. Yeah, I think it definitely needs to be clear. But cool. Yeah, V2, etc.
Yeah, Sapik, we're gonna add discovery too. Like the V2, we'll probably ship this by the end of not this week coming up, but the week after. And the idea there is on the homepage you'll be able to browse open bounties somehow. We're also going to like start to create some just bespoke bounties paid by ResearchHub. So if anybody has like a bounty they really want to fulfill, let me know and we'll have ResearchHub pay for it. The goal here is we want to have some like actual examples of bounties being answered. So that way I can cold email people and say, hey, here's how it works. Like, do you have any questions you want answered? Here's 5,000 free research coin if you come and ask a question. So if there's anything specifically, any content you want to make, let me know, and I'll create a question and add a bounty to it. Cool. Yeah, any other last minute thoughts before we get out of here? Thanks again for all the feedback, all the energy. And Ricardo, like, you're the man. Like, unbelievable, I think, how well this event went. So yeah, super grateful. Like, thanks for kind of, taking the lead and picking up the slack when it needed to happen. It was, yeah, I'm really blown away.
Thank you. Really appreciate this. And actually, it just shows by the, all of the passion that people put into this. So yeah, really happy for this event. Okay. Awesome, guys. Yeah, see you next week.
Excited.
See you, everybody.